Let me tell you why the future in housing is radically different for millennials than it has been for other generations. In case you weren't paying attention, the oldest millennial is turning 41 this year. Generation Y is not so young anymore. As a real estate agent who is among the last few stragglers of the baby boom, or possibly among the earliest members of Generation X by some accounts, I have some bitter news to share with millennials about their future in the housing market. Simply put, it's going to be different for you than it was for your parents, your grandparents, and their parents too. Follow along as I share a simple case study that will clearly show that the millennials will face a housing market like no other generation going back to post-World War II, and it'll be unsettling for those young homeowners today who do not plan ahead. If you have been a regular viewer of our YouTube channel, thank you. Then you've heard my concerns about a generational shift in housing that is going to separate the haves from the have-nots by devastating home affordability. And by the way, if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider clicking that thumbs up like button below and then subscribe now so that you get all of our newest content when it is fresh. I believe home affordability will collapse for two primary reasons. First, the cost of homes is going to go higher at a rate faster than we've experienced in the past. If you'd like to know more about how I reached that conclusion, I've included a link below to a video about future construction costs. Secondly, and the point that we'll explore today, is how millennials through the years are going to be the generation that oversees the biggest shift in the mortgage market in more than 40 years. Demand has been very high due to wonderful home affordability levels that are the result of historically low mortgage interest rates. This graph plots the average monthly 30-year fixed-rate mortgage since 1971. You can see that we've enjoyed extremely low rates since 2000, and then COVID hit and brought in a period of even better market bottom rates. For consumers who do not often pay attention to mortgage interest rates and the housing market, this is their new normal. But history offers a different story. There is convincing data that serves as historic proof that interest rates go through cycles, and the low interest rate cycle has run a long time. When I started my career in real estate over 30 years ago, the 10-year average for mortgage interest rates was more than 12%. This means that the typical homeowner was paying more than 3 times the interest that today's homeowners are paying and more than 4 times the rate last year's buyers were paying. 4 times! Take that for perspective. Money is very cheap today, and it is helping buyers spend more on homes without raising their monthly debt coverage obligations. There are some who think that we are now in a new age where interest rates will be low forever. But they've not done their homework. If you count yourself among those that think times have changed and that historic norms won't return, I urge you to read This Time It's Different: 8 Centuries of Financial Folly. You can find a link below to review it on Amazon. The book explains how often smart people over the past 800 years wrongfully concluded that the cycles were no longer in play for interest rates. That's right. 800 years of intelligent people saying, this time it's different, yet the cycle continued. Let's focus on the orange dashed line in the graph. It shows that rates have generally been falling for more than 40 years, meaning that anybody who purchased a home in the past 50 years likely found lower mortgage interest rates when they went to buy their next home, typically 7 to 10 years after their purchase. This means that the move-up buyer could buy a more expensive home while keeping their monthly mortgage payment comfortable, and the downsizer, the move-down buyer, could nearly eliminate their monthly mortgage obligation. I believe history suggests we might be in for another 50-year run or so, meaning every time a millennial is ready to make their next move, they will be facing mortgage interest rates that are higher, and not just higher than today, rather higher than the rates were when they made their previous purchase. This will impede the relatively stable home affordability rate from continuing as we've seen since 1970. It was less than a year ago when I reported that home affordability, adjusted to inflation, was better than in most previous years going back to the 1990s. But I also warned that converging market forces would put an end to the good times. This graph measures home affordability by calculating the monthly mortgage payment of the median price home in Tallahassee over time. The payment and home prices are adjusted to 1991 levels with the CPI, or inflation index, thus revealing how home affordability has changed over the past 30 years, as well as by providing a forecast through 2040. The forecast has been created by using actual numbers through January 2022 and very conservative estimates of future home price growth and mortgage interest rate changes, and the average inflation measured over the past 30 years. Just focus on the red line. That's the monthly mortgage payment, inflation adjusted, that median home buyers have and will face through 2040. Just look at how far it moved already in 2022. Today's $700 per month mortgage payment, adjusted to $1,991, is projected to grow 170% to $1,892 inflation-adjusted dollars. It's a historically significant leap and far greater than the small growth that homebuyers experienced from 2004 through 2006. In order to understand its impact on millennials and their future, I've created two scenarios that show what many millennials will face when they go to buy their next home. And one of them's not very pretty at all. Each of the following two examples is built to show what the future will likely hold for somebody who buys a home today and then decides to move in 10 years. I believe the assumptions on appreciation and mortgage interest rates have been very conservative, so the outcome is likely to be even worse than what we discover today. Our first example examines the plight of the millennial move-up homebuyer. Each scenario starts with a homebuyer purchasing a $300,000 home this year. The white box shows the action taken by the buyer and the expected appreciation rate they will find in the market each year. The green box shows the home value at the end of each year, as well as the loan payment, loan balance, and the homeowner's net equity from the sale of the home. Things are looking good at this point, as the homeowner has generated nearly $270,000 of equity in their 10 years of home ownership, with a constant low mortgage payment of less than $2,000 each month. The yellow box shows what a typical move-up might look like for today's buyer 10 years from now. This will give our young millennials some gray hair if they're paying attention. Historically, we find the average move-up to equate to about 150% of the buyer's existing home. So in our scenario, today's $300,000 home has grown to $605,000 in 10 years, meaning the next move would be to a $908,000 home. I've used 100% of the buyer's equity from the sale of the first home as a down payment on the second home, but with interest rates moving only to the 50-year average, the payment on the next home would jump 190% to $5,700 each month. This means that a millennial will need qualifying income in 10 years that is nearly triple their current earnings. While this might not be a big deal in Silicon Valley, I guarantee you it's going to put a crushing weight on move-up buyers in most local real estate markets. This is why we have been warning of an upcoming housing affordability crisis that will be very difficult to overcome for the majority of people. It's also the reason that I think we'll see a shift backward to far lower home ownership rates, similar to what was seen before World War II. Similar to the previous example, our second case examines the plight of the millennial move-down home buyer. The move-down buyer is not going to face the same level of difficulty as did the move-up buyer. What's interesting is that we're seeing today's buyer sell today's home in 10 years for the same price and equity, only to trade it for a home that is 25% cheaper than today's home will be worth in 2032. With higher mortgage interest rates, the move-down buyer will see their monthly mortgage payment drop from $1,961 to $1,920 each month, a decline of just 2%. So the financial element of the motivation to downsize is going to go away. There might be a good percentage of move-down buyers who do so to simplify their upkeep of their homes, but I suspect we'll see move-down buyers live in their homes longer and then move when they can do so without requiring a new mortgage. The reversal in the trend of mortgage interest rate change will reduce the number of both move-up and move-down buyers, so ultimately we'll see the number of purchase transactions in real estate decline in the future. An important takeaway from our understanding of home affordability is that just because people will be moving less often, it does not mean the U.S. will need fewer houses. The rising cost of land, sticks, bricks, and labor will make new home construction costlier, and that means millennials need to be prepared to spend more for their housing than did the last few generations as a percentage of income. Rents will rise faster. Mortgage payments will rise faster, and that means millennials will spend a greater percentage of their disposable income on housing. Unless the government gets heavily into the shelter-providing business, I don't see another way to avoid this fate right now. If you think you do, please give us some feedback below. I'd love to explore some new ideas. If you want to see more videos about current housing market conditions, I've assembled a great playlist that you can view by clicking on the box on the top left corner of your screen. To see my popular video featuring my top 6 home selling tips, just click on the box below it. Please remember to like this video, check out the links below it, and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss anything.